Good morning, everyone. I am Olaniwaju Victoria, also from Age Network, developed by Joyce team.
Nice
Thank you. Okay, so we are live now on YouTube. Please, our page is the Age Network TV. You can share. Please, Victoria, kindly share the link with us so that we can also share with our friends so that they can join us either here or live on YouTube. We move on. Okay, I think I can now share my screen. Please, Mr. Solomon, kindly enable me to share my screen, please. Please introduce yourself at the chat box. You can drop your name, where you're from, your state, anything. Let's get to know ourselves, please. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's nice to be here. And I'm glad having you all joining. My name is Martina from Age Network. Thank you for joining.
Hi, Maki. You can be able to share your screen now.
Hi, everyone.
Maki, you can be able to share your screen now. Please go ahead.
Let us briefly introduce our speakers for today. We have Salami Sheung. Salami Sheung Dari is a registered nurse and midwife. He is a staunch advocate for sexual, reproductive, and health rights, and is very passionate about the health and well-being of girls child. He has a keen interest in addressing the issue of female genital mutilation. He also advocates against gender-based violence and harmful traditional practices, such as female genital mutilation, and with the aim of promoting the reproductive rights and preventing negative health outcomes. He was a team leader at the UNFPA sponsored adolescent boot camp in 2022. Wow. And also we have Okunola Damilola Ruda. She is a registered nurse and midwife, passionate about improving the health and well-being of our community, especially females. She has volunteered for many organizations to give health risks, medical outreach, and sensitization, as well as reaching over 100 of girls in the rural areas to teach them on how to make reusable sanitary pads to improve their standard of living. Damilola looks forward to a future where all girls will be able to make informed decisions about their health and body generally. Also, we have George Adjeti. I got that right. George Adjeti is an adolescent and youth sexual and reproductive health program consultant and researcher with over 4 years of experience in grassroots development, public policy, and sustainable public health system and governance advocacy, with his most recent work being the review of the Lagos State's. Please, I don't know what is happening. Please let me continue like this. Sorry for that. George currently serves as the youth coordinator for the United Nations Population Fund Youth Participatory Platform, and where he coordinates the affairs of a team of young advocates and represent the interests of young people at the table work to ensure that every pregnancy is wanted, every childbirth is safe, and every young person is allowed to reach their full potential. Last but not the least, we have Favor Chineye Okwo. He's a public health specialist with a multi-disciplinary creative thinker on the transformative role of global development indicators for sustainable development goals, with ample experience in designing and leading innovation strategies, advocacy research, and shaping policies with global institutions. She has worked with several national and international organizations and actively participated in numerous social impact projects and advocacy programs that give tremendous impact. Wow, I would like to say that these young people, our speakers today, have really done a lot, and I'm happy that the youth are ready. I'm happy that the youth are ready to put their voice out there to change the environment and to change the life of women and girls out there, especially at speaking about their sexual reproductive health and rights. I'm happy to have you all. Thank you. So we go right into today's discussion. Okay, so a lot of people will ask, what is female genital mutilation? And it's surprisingly, some people are not really aware. In fact, I myself, I'm not really aware of this female genital mutilation until last year, 2021. And is surprising though. So if you ask, according to the definition we have here, female genital mutilation is a term for a range of procedures that involve partial and total removal of the external female genital for non-medical reasons. It is extremely painful and has serious health consequences at the time it is carried out and in later life. Here we have 4 major types of female genital mutilation. One is the clitoridectomy, which involve removing the clitoral hood and at least part of the clitoris. With type 2 is the excision, which involves the entire clitoris is removed and the inner lip. They call it labia minora. Okay, so the third one is fibrillation, okay, is the removal of all parts of the labia minora and the labia majora. And the last but not the least is the type 4, which is other practices such as piercing, cauterizing, creping, or using corrosive substances designed to scratch a narrow vagina. So my question here is that from all this type of FGM, what type is majorly practiced in Nigeria? I will start with our beautiful Favor. What type is majorly practiced in Nigeria from your experience so far?
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. In Nigeria, the most common type of female genital mutilation is the type 1, that is the clitoridectomy. That's the removal of the clitoris or the clitoris and the clitoral hood. That's the most common type, and it's usually done mostly in the south and southeastern states, and that's the region in Nigeria that has the highest, how would I put it, incidence of female genital mutilation. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if anybody have any contribution to that, please. Can do that.
Hello, sorry to cut in, please, a link has been dropped for attendance. Kindly drop your information. Thank you.
Okay, so there's no that contribution, right? So that means the most common one is the clitoris. Sorry, can you all hear me? I don't know, my voice is breaking here. Yes. Okay. The most common one is the clitoridectomy, which is very popular in Nigeria. I don't know. We have somebody from Ghana, so I don't know if you can. I can see. Is it Dawa or something like that? Which one is the most common practice in Ghana?
Yes, thank you very much. So I think it's the first one, but I will also suggest that maybe you restart the meeting, because we just had I've seen in the chat box that there is a hacker in the meeting. So I think it will be advisable that maybe just off and join the meeting so that members can join. Thank you so very much.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it has been removed. It has been removed. Yeah, let's continue.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that update, Tina, because I've been experiencing some challenges here too so far. Okay, so moving on to the next thing. This is the FGM practice in Nigeria. Fact is that an estimated 86% of females were caught before the age of 5, while 8% were caught between the age of 5 and 14. And this means that FGM is usually practiced on girls age 0 to 15, which violate the children's rights as established in the Convention of the Right of the Child in Article 2, 19, Section 1, Article 24, and Article 37. So from this article, we can clearly see that they demonstrate the fact that a child has the right to be free from discrimination, from torture, and to be protected and to be in a good health. Looking at the practices in Nigeria, from the age of 1 to, from the age of 0 to 15, we can actually say this act is violating these particular laws. So my question here is this practice not a rub on a child, on a girl's childhood? I'll be asking you, Judge, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, moderator. So if I get your question correctly, you're asking if some of these practices are wrong or right according to the law of the land, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Good morning, everyone, once again. So I legally, FGM is wrong, and it's a criminal offense right now in Nigeria. And that is thanks to all the amazing work that young people have been doing to push out the narrative that the FGM that our foreparents have proposed to be a means of, ensuring chastity and ensuring that young girls do not become quote unquote promiscuous, amongst others. Those things, like FGM did not really curb any of those things, and there is no medical benefit to it whatsoever. So I think these are some of the grounds with which some of these policies and laws were made to ensure that the rights of these children are protected, as you said. And there are so many laws that FGM contravenes, a lot, right? Probably in the year 1990s, 1980s, we might not have those laws in place. But now, as I speak, we have several laws. I reside in Lagos, and I'm based in Lagos, and I know that Lagos has a Child Rights Act. We have a Gender-Based Violence Act. We have our own Violence Against Persons Act. This is currently being partially domesticated in Lagos, and amongst other things that protect the rights of women and girls that are vulnerable to things like this. Now, the question, is it right? It is not. It's an easy way out. Like, we are creating an easy way out, because um, uh, I studied international relations and diplomacy, right? So wrong or right is contextual. So I would like to just take us down this lane. Now, if this thing does not benefit anyone, does that make it wrong or right? Because people that do perpetrate these acts, they will defend it. They will say it is their tradition. They will say, oh, it is this, it is the right thing to do. And some cultures see female genital mutilation as a rite of passage into adulthood or even into womanhood. Now, would we tell these people that it is wrong or right? No. What we will tell them is this thing does not have any benefits, and the resulting pains and harm it causes on the child is what is not right, and you should like join us to end it. I don't know if I'm speaking. Like, if we can co-opt people to now understand that we're not claiming that it is wrong or right culturally. We're not claiming if it is wrong or right traditionally. What we are claiming is that it affects the life of these young girls adversely. And if it does affect them adversely, we understand that it is because you love these children, right? That you want them to do some of these things, because you have been made to believe that this is the best way to protect their interest and to make them marriageable, to make them presentable in the society. But now we are bringing to you other facts that prove that rather than making them presentable to the society or marriageable or whatever, we're telling you that it has adverse effects. And trust me, like, the effects of female genital mutilation, even as a guy, even as a man, like, I have done a lot of research around this. I've done a lot of speaking and all that. So, and I've gone to several lengths to try to see if there is anything that could be done to make people understand if these things should be stopped or not. And one of the major ways is trying to like stop people from making it seem like we as anti-FGM advocates, like, we are telling them that is based on morality is wrong. Morally, it is right to them. Why? Because it's their culture. They are trying to protect their culture. But we are telling them that it is not about morals. We are not arguing. We are arguing the interest of the girl child. Now, if you were doing these things because you had the interest of the girl child at heart, now what if you have more information about what you are doing and you find out that whatever you have been doing over the years is not with the interest of the girl child, like, is not in the best interest of the girl child? Now, what would you do? Right? So that is where I want us to look at it from. Instead of trying to, prove right and wrong, we try to put the interest, quote unquote, like the interest of the girl child is what we are trying to protect. We're not trying to come against you. We're not trying to come against what you believe, but we're trying to come against what you are doing. How does it affect these girls? We're trying to come against what you are doing, not what you believe. I don't know if that is.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that, George. That
Very
really explains though. I like that point that we are not saying it is wrong or right. What we are saying is doesn't have any benefit. And such practices that doesn't have benefit should not be encouraged, right? Thank you very much for that, George. Okay, so moving to the next fact here, there's a female genital mutilation remains widespread in Nigeria with an estimated 19.9 million survivors. Nigeria accounts for the third highest number of women and girls who have undergone FGM worldwide. And also we argue that the prevalence of this FGM is highest in the Southeast and Southwest. In the Southwest is about 35%, the Southwest is 30%, while it's very low in the Northeast with 6%. And the high prevalence is in Ebonyi, Ekiti, Imo, Osun, and Oyo State. So I would like to what's the cause of the prevalence in this part, as in from the highest to the lowest, what actually amounts to this? Why is it like that? We Nasruda, I don't know if you are there. Please, you can share light on this for us. Hello, Nasruda. Are you still there?
Okay, yeah, sorry for the break. So considering the prevalence of FGM in Nigeria and in different states, Southeast, there was a time I was reading and I saw that Imo State alone has 62% prevalence rates of FGM practices. And I was like, are you serious? So it takes like more than half of the whole prevalence rate that is happening in Nigeria. And, before I got more education about FGM, I initially thought the northern part should have like the higher
yeah, same thing. Yeah, I always thought they even have the highest parts. Only for me to see this kind of statistics, I was like very surprised. Seriously.
Yes, I thought that then. So I thought that the northern side should have the highest prevalence, but I realized that we find part of the factors that contribute to FGM, one of it is lack of education, and we can say, okay, lack of appropriate education. But FGM is deeply rooted in custom, in practices, in culture. And that is one thing that is causing this prevalence in the southeastern parts of this country. For example, I'm very sorry for anybody that is coming from the southeast that is on this page, but we know that southeastern people, they uphold their culture very well. Example is this traditional marriage. Even if you are living in Lagos or you are living in another part, and you want to do your wedding ceremony, even if you do the white wedding and registry in Lagos, you still have to go there to do the traditional rites. It's like it's a culture. So they uphold their culture so well. And this thing also is what is affecting the FGM. So they uphold their culture and it's something they pass from one person to the other, from one generation to the other. So as long as FGM is a culture, is a custom, then it is actually going to be passed. And I think this is one of the major reasons why it is prevalent in that part. And we see these people from the northern part of Nigeria, most of them, when they come to our side to work, they hardly go back to that side. Like they don't care. Most of the things is just for them to, pray to their God, look for one source of income, and just enjoy life, just do life like that. But people from that southeastern part, they are always particular about their culture. So I think that's one of the reasons why it is more prevalent there.
Well,
And
that's
also,
great.
okay, so sorry, let me quickly add this. So in the
Okay.
south western part too, we have 30%. And I think another reason for the prevalence rate is lack of implementation of the anti-FGM law. Yes, I can emphatically say for Osun State, it is not yet well implemented. The one that has been passed since 2003 is still there. And the law is really, really flexible. Well, I don't know if something has happened between last year and now. Actually, I'm very sure that 2021 early last year. So it is very flexible. There was a time we did a random survey and we asked people in a particular community in Osun State that we asked them their view about FGM. They were like, a guy told us that his wife would have to do FGM, and we asked him why. He said the wife would be promiscuous. I said, are you in this age and time? What are you talking about? And we had to tell him that, do you know that there's an anti-FGM law in Osun State, and if you enforce this, you have to pay. I think the law is also you pay 50,000 or you spend maybe 3 months or 6 months in prison or something. And the guy was like, is it not just 50,000? He will pay. I said, ha. So that means the law is flexible. It's too flexible, and some people see it as it is nothing. So we need to work on the implementation of the anti-FGM law.
No, that's very important. That's very important. Favor, I don't know if you have anything to say on this before we move to the next thing.
All right. Well, Rhoda has said a lot. Like, what I want to hammer on is the cultural part. Like in my part, I'm from the South, I'm from Delta, and where I come from, my village, they actually, do genital mutilation. And like I said, common type is clitoridectomy. I remember when I was much younger, my hands came over, and then she was pregnant because they do it in our side 7 months, when you're 7 months pregnant for your first child. So they'll go ahead and cut off the clitoris, so that you will not be promiscuous or something that deals with tradition and culture. So discussing with her and talking with her back then, almost 4 or 5 years ago, I realized that in the neighboring towns, they started doing it because our town was doing it. Do you understand? So it's more like the culture was pervasive. It started in one place and then it started growing because they feel like, oh, they are doing it in this place because they want to know.
It was like they were now copying themselves.
Exactly. That is one reason why it's really prevalent. In the northern part now, you will see that, okay, it's just very few select set of people, and then probably the neighboring town isn't even that close. But then in the southern part, we are all, joined together. And when you hear of something, and definitely because we're Africans and it's a patriarchal society, so they will see a way where they can control girls' sexuality and feel like, oh yes, we can also inculcate this into our tradition, and over time it became, a part and parcel of their culture. So yes, it's just because of the pervasiveness of culture.
Well, thank you for that, Favor. So we'll move to the next one. So now we'll be talking about FGM mice. There is this thing that's
man. Hello, man.
Hello, who is that?
Sorry to cut in. Sorry to cut
in.
Please, we have the link for the attendance on the drive. On the chat. Kindly fill up the chat, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Sina. So for the FGM mind, he said that male circumcision is the same as female circumcision, or female sex organ, because based on the fact that female sex organ will cause future health problem, just like the male sex organs. So my question is this true or false? This for you, Nurse Sharon. Hello, Nurse Sharon, are you there? Okay.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. All right, so to answer your question, male circumcision and female circumcision, that they are far apart. Now, it's of cases where people come back and say, okay, you are circumcising male. Why are we not circumcising the female? They both have the genitals, but this is actually wrong. The major reason why male circumcision is actually being done, is to remove the foreskin, and in a way, it abhors microorganisms and could actually lead to infection for male, and that's why no circumcision is being done. Now for female, just like you've read earlier, it's like there is no health benefit for female circumcision. It has no therapeutic use. Meanwhile, it is even causing harm. Now, how do I I've been opportune to work in communities to implement.
Sorry, your line is breaking. I don't know if is your video on?
No.
If you can off your so to reduce the.
All right.
Okay, you can continue.
All right, so I said an opportunity to implement programs in communities sponsored by the UNFPA and Joseph. One very important thing is like if a young girl now who is running around, and just because she cannot endure the pain of being caught. Now, if that is the person that and all, iron sheets like this blade for vibrating gas. Like it's that people say they use the constant and a lot of disinfection do happen. Now you have the issue of someone even like in after you cut, some people still sew and the now where the fertilization for smaller, you would have some prolonged. Now this have
sorry, no Salami. Your line is still breaking. I don't know if can everybody hear him. Okay, yeah, the sound is not clear.
I guess he's having some network issues. He could rejoin. Just log out and then try connecting again.
Meanwhile, okay, thank you. Meanwhile, you can share your opinion too on the chat box in case. Hello, Salami, are you still there? Okay, I think he will rejoin. So this question going back to your nurse brother, is male circumcision the same thing with female circumcision? Okay, it's coming back already. And does this FGM have any health benefits like the male circumcision?
Okay, so there's no as far as we could hear no Salami, he has explained to an extent there's no benefits in female genital. There's no physical benefits, there's no medical benefits, there's no emotional benefits, rather there's psychological and physical and medical effects. So female genital mutilation and male circumcision, they are quite different. Like they are totally different, and some female genital mutilation activists that they are in support of it, they're not trying to eradicate the use of mutilation and they want to replace it with circumcision. So it will sound palatable, but we cannot, hide away from the fact that it is still mutilation because you're taking something away that does not have any benefit. Why are you taking it away? Because you don't want the lady to be promiscuous. And evidence have shown that people that are circumcised, that are mutilated, females that are mutilated, are more likely to be promiscuous than those that are not mutilated. Now, I think there's an echo. I don't know if it's from my end or someone is not muting their speaker. So the reason for that is this. Now, one benefit of the clitoris, or let me say one of the benefits or the major benefit of the clitoris is to increase sexual stimulation. It is believed that the clitoris is like the penis in males. So if you're now cutting away what is supposed to give the lady sexual pleasure, what is supposed to give the lady what she's supposed to get while having sexual intercourse. I believe everybody's here is over 14 years of age or 18. So if you're cutting it away, how do you expect the lady to be satisfied sexually? If such person is married and there's no sexual satisfaction, she's more likely to go outside to another man to see if the fault is from the man or it's herself. So it is believed that people that are circumcised are more likely to be promiscuous than those that are not circumcised, because you're taking away their, how can you? So it is quite different. We should not even spend too much time on that. There's nothing we can do. It's different. Female genital mutilation is female genital
Totally
mutilation. And it is in nature. Male circumcision is male circumcision, and it has its own benefits, whereas FGM does not. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I want to say something if it's fine.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you very much. I'm Dr. Shai. I think I've conducted a series of research on female genital mutilation here in Nigeria and also in the Europe. There's a clear-cut difference between male circumcision and female genital mutilation. Female genital mutilation basically should not be compromised. It should be addressed accordingly because it's a violation of human rights and a threat to human existentiality, as well as also a threat to national development. Although we all understand the fact that female genital mutilation is culturally rooted, but a culture or tradition negating, or violating human rights, or also violating national development, I think should be addressed properly. It's a violation of the body integrity and the right, of girls, that's women and girls. So I don't think we should be looking at what we should do to begin to bring people who are engaged in this act to book, because it is also practiced in the UK, and also in the North American axis. But, there's a drastic reduction because of the system, strategies, and, methods involved in punishing offenders. So there's a clear-cut difference or, demarcation between female genital mutilation as well as, the male circumcision. The male circumcision is allowed, but the female genital mutilation is a violation of human rights. It's a total violation of human rights.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Musa.
Well, thank you very much for that input. Yeah, Mark, I think there's some other people that can share their input also.
For now, please. There will still be contribution later. Sorry. So not sure. I don't know if you can end up what you're saying, and also answer the next question. Female genital mutilation will increase male sexual pleasure. Is it true or false? Hello, Nurse Sharon. Are you there?
All right. Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay, so just like I was saying earlier, genital mutilation and male circumcision, they are far apart. They are all related. And In fact, it is causing, it's a way of causing more harm to a girl child, while male circumcision basically has its benefits. And I just said that earlier, just to protect the male child from infection and all of that. Now, the next question, female genital mutilation will increase male sexual pleasure. Well, what females genital mutilation will do is actually to reduce low sexual drive for the girl child. And just like the clitoris is actually the most sensitive part of the female. And sex is actually supposed to be enjoyed by both partner and not just a person. There is this that a male child actually have access with the girl child, that this person is offering that, yes, I'm actually enjoying this intercourse. So it is false. I would say it's false. It's false that male sexual pleasure, you get more pleasure as a result of the fact that your woman actually has undergone FGM. It's false, but it's actually a way of showing for some male child that, okay, I'm the one in control. I'm the one I'm supposed to enjoy the sex more than the child. All of this is wrong. So basically, I would say that
Sorry, nationality there.
female genital kill.
Okay. Oh, can you hear me? Okay, so I don't know, George, are you there? Can take over the question.
Yes. So the question, does female genital mutilation increase male sexual pleasure? Now,
Yes, yes.
the straight answer is false.
Okay.
Sexual pleasure
False.
is not attached to, like, it does not have any attachment to female genital mutilation. And I think sexual pleasure is hindered when female genital mutilation has been performed on the female. And now, these are one of the numerous disadvantages of female genital mutilation, because from research, we found out that female genital mutilation sometimes makes sexual activity hell for the female gender. Like, when they hear sex, it's like they're about to crucify them again. It's like something bad is about to happen again. Some of them don't even want to near their partners when they get married. Now they just have to endure. It's like they're enduring it, right? So
Like they are not enjoying it at all.
exactly. So the whole thing about the fact that female genital mutilation increases sexual pleasure for the male, that is a blatant false statement. However, it still borders on the issue of culture, right? Now, female genital mutilation in some cultures happens after marriage. Now, in a situation where a quote unquote a husband is not able to enforce female genital mutilation on his partner, he's considered weak. He's considered not manly, right? That's why I when I saw the theme for this year's commemoration, I was so happy within myself, because I think the world is now recognizing the fact that fighting female genital mutilation a major stakeholder in ending female genital mutilation is the men, because
Exactly.
it is the whole patriarchal belief system that encourages the men to use female genital mutilation as a form of dominance against their partners. And that is what we should start fighting against. Getting men, young men and boys, to start to recognize that this thing is harmful to this, my partner, and it makes my partner's life a living hell. Now, if I can help eliminate this violence or this act and promote my partner's health and well-being, why would I not want to do it? Why would I want to intentionally jeopardize my partner's future because of my need to show strength or show masculinity? Now, if we as young men,
Thank you for that, Judge.
that, then it makes life easier for the female folks. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. So moving on, another mind that we have where the presence of the clitoris will result in promiscuity. I would like Favor to talk on this. Is it true or false?
Okay, thank you very much. The presence of the clitoris will result in it's false, in the sense that studies have shown that whether you have a clitoris or you do not have a clitoris, most people that want to engage in sexual act will engage in sexual act. But the idea that the clitoris actually gives sexual pleasure, so let's cut it off so they wouldn't have that pleasure. But they also forget that, well, there is still during the normal intercourse, we still have the G-spot and the others and everything. So it's false, because whoever wants to, engage in any sexual act, regardless of the fact, though yes, we can actually say not having the clitoris could reduce, could actually hinder sexual arousal. Yes, in a way it can, but there is still, reports of girls who do not have the clitoris or who have undergone clitoridectomy that still engage in sexual pleasures outside marriage and all. So it doesn't necessarily stop them from being promiscuous. It doesn't necessarily do that. Thank you. Or should I answer the second one?
Yeah, you can answer the question, second one too. Female genital mutilation will increase fertility and child survival rate.
As a matter of fact, it does the opposite of it, because of the increased level of infections and vesico, vaginal fistula, and a lot of things. And even pain or prolonged child delivery. So it doesn't increase any. It actually hinders fertility and also child survival rate. There are reports of more mortality rate due to female genital mutilation, especially in the sense of when there is infibulation. That's when you actually remove the whole labia majora and everything and suture it back. So the passage of the child through the birth canal or the cervical region would not actually allow the baby to come out well and everything. So it's actually doesn't increase fertility and actually increases mortality rates of babies. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Favor. I don't know,
Thank you very
Brother, do you have
much.
any contribution?
Are you saying it doesn't affect pregnancy in any way? Hello, Ma, are you there?
Sorry, are you talking to me like the pregnancy question?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
We just had you say it doesn't have any effect or something. So I think study shows that it has some complications for women during delivery and then pregnancy. but I really could not figure out where your response
No,
were
I said
coming from.
it doesn't increase fertility. It affects pregnancy. It does affect pregnancy. There are increased likelihood of complications during pregnancy when it comes to genital mutilated cases. So it affects pregnancy. It reduces fertility and it causes child death rate. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you very much for that, Nurse Rhoda. Okay, so we go into the
Oh, sorry,
anti-FGM
I'm
laws.
not the one that spoke. It was not Favor. Sorry, so we won't.
Okay. Sorry, my network went off a little bit, so I didn't actually get that. Okay, I would actually ask if you have any contribution to what Favor said about the presence of clitoris resulting to promiscuity and female genital mutilation increasing fertility and child survival rates.
No, she has actually said everything. I would only just add that. Let me explain, because the other co-host was saying that how FGM affects pregnancy, childbirth, and all. Let me just add that, depending on the type of FGM that is being done, for example, the type 3, the type 3 is the infibulation. So this type, it involves sewing, cutting and sewing and all that. So if you, for somebody that type is done, when the person wants to give birth, that means you would have to cut that lady open after childbirth. So it's such a messy thing, actually. So it does not have any positive effect on fertility, child survival rate, and all that.
All right, thank you very much for that contribution. Thank you.
Please, can I also contribute?
Yes, Ma, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much. I am a Kaita. I'm speaking from Akwa Ibom State. I will want to say
Thank you
that.
for joining, Ma.
Thank you. I want to also add that I believe that God created that clitoris, like my friend said, just like the penis. And there was elasticity in the creation. By removing that elasticity, by cutting the clitoris, it now makes labor prolonged. And if the child dies in the process, they will say it is witchcraft. I believe it's because that God-given elasticity had been tempered with, so it has to that place is not, most of them have episiotomy at birth. Like I know of a lady, she has 4 children, and each of those 4 labor or deliveries, she was given episiotomy. While episiotomy that I know is normally during the first child, and after that you can have children without cutting. That is generally, I don't think, I believe there are some exceptions. Then secondly, I also think that before now, they used to give these, do this FGM when a child was about 5 to 8 years, because they said when you are a virgin, so that you may not have maybe a sore or whatever. And they used to use instruments that may have maybe not kind of not hygienic, maybe, I don't know, knife, or maybe even some instrument that had been used on another person. At the village level, you don't expect that much hygienic and some medical observations. So there was all, I believe there were in cases of child mortality at the point of giving the female circumcision. And I believe that they don't enjoy sex. I believe that they don't even reach orgasm, or most of them don't know what orgasm is. So it is a timely thing that we are trying to create this awareness to tell them that this thing does not bring any benefit. Instead, it takes away from people. Like one of the contributors said, he said that it even makes you more promiscuous because you don't have satisfaction. Sex becomes labor. You have to endure, and it shouldn't be the case. Thank you very much.
Thank you
you,
very
ma'am, for the
much, Mrs. Akante. Thank you. Okay,
Sorry,
so
please.
moving
I
on to
am
the
very
next.
sorry. Before we move on, I need to thank you very much, Ma, for your contribution. But I need to say this so that people would not think that because I have been mutilated now, I may likely have to go through episiotomy. There are a certain factors that brings about episiotomy, okay? This is not the cause of discussion, but I need to clarify that. Episiotomy is not only based on either the person is circumcised or not. And also, episiotomy is not only given during the first childbirth. There are certain factors. If the baby's weight is more than what the vaginal orifice can take and all that, so many factors, we can give episiotomy. So that's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Over to you, Margaret.
Okay, so moving on, we'll be talking about the anti-FGM laws right now. So I'm very sure most of us have heard about the VEP Act, which was enacted by the National Assembly in Nigeria and was accepted also to become a law by the president then in 2015. And the aim was to reduce gender-based violence, violence against a person. So according to, that was last year November, according to Pauline Thailand, the Minister of Women Affairs, she said 34 states of the federal and the Federal Capital Territory have domesticated this VAP Act. The question here is there progress in terms of implementing the laws? This question is for you, George. Hello, George. Are you there?
Yes, I am here. So I
lost
you. Please, can you come again the question?
Talking about the VAP Act, which was enacted, and with the progress report that 34 states have already domesticated this VAP Act as of last year. Is there any progress in terms of implementation? Because I can remember Nosbrother talking about in Osun State that the implementation is bad. So I don't know, is there anything being done to make sure these laws are being implemented in all the states?
Yeah, okay, thank you very much for that question. So from my work, right, I am majorly, like my work is majorly circled around Lagos and some other southwestern states. So I can speak empirically for Lagos, right? But for other states, I think I might not be the right person to comment. But for Lagos, I believe that Lagos already had some form of policies and laws that protected the interests of the girl child prior to the VAP Act being implemented in the first place. And the VAP Act only came as a reiteration, right, to what Lagos State was already doing. Now, as I always say at every forum I find myself, Nigeria has beautiful laws, amazing policies. The problem is always at the implementation stage. Now, is the implementation, is it effective enough? In Lagos, I would give Lagos say 75%. Why? Because the law enforcement agents, in fact, there's an agency that has been created by the state government that reports directly to the office of the governor when it comes to gender-based violence and violence in the state. And this is a huge stride for us as anti-GBV advocates. However, when it comes to other states where this so-called FGM is in high prevalence, the implementation of the VAP Act is usually very low. And this still boils down to the common man on the streets. Are they aware that some of these laws exist? Some of them are not aware. Not even some. A huge number, a huge percentage of the citizenry of Nigeria are not aware of some of the most basic policies and laws that we have in our country. And this will definitely tell on the implementation of these laws and policies. Just like my co-panelist said earlier, right? Some of these laws, the common man, do not know about it. The common young woman, the common young lady, the common girl child in the streets, they do not know about these laws. So it is going to tell on the implementation, because it is only when I know something is wrong that I will try to avoid it or try to ensure that I'm not found wanting when it comes to adhering to it. So I believe that from what I have learned, from what I've heard, I think I was in Osun State mid last year as well, and I was in Oyo as well. And I saw firsthand the fact that some of these policies are just on pen and paper. They are just on paper. The common man do not know these things. Now, I believe that, now that we are all talking about FGM once again, and for everybody on this call, it is your duty, is your, I don't want to say civic, I think it's civic, right? So civic duty to make sure that if you are actually passionate about ending violence against women and girls, and you are a boy, or you are a man, or you are a lady, or you are a young woman, it is time for you to start to have conversations with the people at the grassroots to help them understand that these things are legally wrong. These things are legally restricted. These things have legal complications if you engage in them. Now, this would enable us to increase the implementation rates. But currently, the problem with implementation is knowledge. There's a huge knowledge gap in having our people in the grassroots. Yes, we are doing a lot of work. We are going into communities. Personally, I don't do a lot of, fighting on social media. I like to see all these things firsthand. So I go into the field and I see some of these things. Yes, we speak to local traditional rulers. We tell them, okay, stamp out FGM in your community. And these people we are trying our best, right? But then I believe that we should move away from the leaders now and start talking to the members of these communities that we know that they have high prevalence rates of FGM. And this is how we can help implementation. That is my own idea that I think we can use to increase implementation rates. But as of now, even for those states that have domesticated the VAP Act, they have only domesticated it on pen and paper, because the major thing that will show implementation is conviction rate. Conviction rate is still very low, extremely low when it comes to gender-based violence. I think if you remove the conviction rate of gender-based violence in Lagos out of the whole conviction rate of the whole of Nigeria, we'll find out that other states have nothing to talk about when it comes to conviction rate. This thing continues to happen. If we can have maybe in the morning news, they're talking about somebody being jailed for practicing FGM. In the afternoon, we are finding out that somebody is being jailed for practicing FGM. In the evening, they are finding out in the news also that somebody is being jailed for FGM. This will create a sense of responsibility within the communities that they have that have stamped out FGM. right? Because they now know that, oh, these people are no longer joking. The conviction rate is high. It means that I might be the next person if I don't stop. So I think these are the only things that, like, the markers are not right. Conviction rate is still very low, and we are saying we have laws. So what would prove that these laws are working if we are not convicting people, if people are not being jailed, if people are not being, fined, right? If people are not being, should I say, being made scapegoats of, how do we now know that these laws are even available? So one, education, reaching out to the grassroots and making them understand these laws and the implication of continuing these practices. Two is we need to start fighting for increased conviction rates so that we can now make sure that people know that these things is not just about being harmful alone. We have told them that it's harmful, it's harmful, it's harmful. Now we have moved to telling them that it is harmful, to telling them that, okay, we know we have told you that it's harmful. If you continue to do it, you go to jail. And we're not just saying it, there's somebody in jail that we can point to that, okay, this person is in jail because of doing this. So if you do it too, you will join that person. So personally, that's what I think. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much for that. I don't know if there's any contribution to that. Okay, Favor, okay, yeah, go on.
Thank you, George. In fact, you've over-explained everything. Thank you. Exactly. There is a very poor knowledge of the law and enforcement of it. Most times, most officials, most enforcement agencies, especially the police, do not even know what FGM is.
Yeah,
They're not even aware of it. They don't even understand. If you go into the streets and start doing one-on-one survey, you discover that not many people know about it. So we should, according to George, we should shift the focus from just the government alone to go into the communities ourselves, charge community leaders, traditional rulers, and religious leaders. Those are the people in position of authority. When they are made to understand the health risk and the general severity of complications of female genital mutilation, they will become, like, how will I put it now, the enforcer of the law in their own community. So when they catch anybody red-handed, they will tell them about the law, tell them about the disadvantages of FGM, and then they will take it up from there. It has happened before. I think it happened in a community. It's not in Imo State or in Enugu, where some advocates went and they taught the community leaders and the religious leaders, and then the community took over the whole case, and they were able to apprehend some people who had been, carrying out these activities, and some others fled and left the community. So we should go into the communities, charge the leaders especially, because they are the ones that the people would listen to the most. Thank you very much. And also another reason is there is a gross underreporting because of the age of those at risk. Usually it's between the ages of 0 to 15. So they won't really report the case. And also there's family loyalties. Everybody knows everybody and don't want to talk about it. And the reluctance of outsiders, neighboring communities to want to intervene. So we should tell them about these things, teach them about these things, tell them that the rights of a girl child, of a woman matters a lot, and then there will be changes. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much for that, Favor. That's good. Okay, coming back to you, George. I don't know if there is any other laws apart from this VAP Act that we all know. If there is any other law, also earlier we mentioned about the child rights conventions and is there any other laws in Nigeria or in different states that actually that's against FGM? Please, just to educate us. Sorry, Judge, are you still there? Hello? Okay, Favor.
Yeah.
Okay. Please, if you can answer the question.
Apart from the VAP Act, which has been mirrored in so many other states, we have, I think, the Cross River states, they have their own laws. I think it's called the Girl Child Marriages and Female Circumcision Prohibition Law of 2000. And then there was, I think it's under the section 4 of it, where they said that any person who performs FGM or offers herself for FGM will be liable to a fine of no less than 10,000 naira or a prison sentence of 3 years. And also there is even in Ebonyi State too, I think it's about a 5-year sentence. Then in Edo State, the law is called the Prohibition of Female Genital Mutilation Law of 1999. And there's also imprisonment of 3 years. I don't know the fine. Then in Rivers State, there's the Child Rights Act of 2009. And it's also, I think it's under section 25 thereabouts that spoke specifically about FGM. So yeah, there are, and even under the Medical Act too, for medical malpractice, Medical Act, I think of 2004, section 16 to, I can't remember, but there are laws like that. There are in different states, Cross River, Ebonyi, Edo states, and River states. It's just the implementation that's the problem. If not, the laws are there, but implementing is the problem. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Favor. So the truth is just that these laws are there, but the problem is implementation. And I believe that if this same energy that the youth and the advocates against this FGM we are taking the same energy on, this law will surely be implemented. Like just say, we should educate not just the we should educate the public about these laws, and also make sure that these laws are being commissioned. When people continue hearing about it, it will help us to know about the act, that FGM is violence against a woman or a girl's right. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so I don't know if there is any contribution or comment on this, we can drop it at the chat box. We'll be reading.
Yeah, Margaret, I think I can see some comments on the chat
before we round up. So
yeah, there are some contributions that the chat is
talking about this men and FGM.
Okay, while we await Margaret joining back again, we'll be taking the contributions from the chat right away. The first I can see here is say there may be some expectations. That is from Dr. Ekaite, said there may be some exemptions. Thanks for the exemptions you have listed. He said for example, the first child weighed just 2.6 kg, and though she had shown about 4:30 a.m. So the water broke at about 11 a.m. and she had a baby around evening time. Wow. Okay, so from Alassian, he also said there are several studies that have examined factors that influence the practice of FGM. Now, some have highlighted important relationships between demographic factors such as age, education, and religion. Thank you for those contributions. Another one says, women with better financial resources or household were less likely to be circumcised. Cultures that put a high premium on preservation of virginity, reducing premarital sex and early pregnancy, and minimizing the risks of extramarital affairs have been shown to be more likely to encourage FGM. Wow, thank you all for those contributions. Somebody also dropped that in Ghana, they have a criminal code mandate in Act 1994. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for that, Tina. Thank you very much. Thank you for
All
that
right.
and those wonderful contributions too. It shows that everybody is present and we are all participating. Thank you very much. So moving on to in the light of this year theme, which hashtag Men and FGM, partnership with men and boys to transform social and gender norms to end FGM. The question here is, do we believe that those men are prepared to bring about this transformation? In fact, before now, I am very happy that most men already advocate against this FGM, but talking about the general basic, like in the community, are these men actually prepared to end this FGM in their communities, particularly the traditional leaders? So I'll be starting with you, Brother.
Okay, so men prepared to bring about the transformation. This question is actually I won't give a yes or no answer because it is relative and it also depends on which community we are talking about, state, region, and all that. But from what I have gathered so far, I think there are some factors. I can't really say they are prepared or not. It depends on the region, as I have said earlier. But from what I have seen so far, I think we are having the involvement of men. And I think they from the ones I have seen, I think they are prepared actually, because from one of the outreaches we had in Osun State, and we saw the attitude of the traditional ruler in that particular community. He called us over. We spoke to him. He called us very receptive. He even introduced us to his what do they call them? His other chiefs and all that. So some people like that, then seeing people that are advocating against FGM, we could see that a lot of men are there. So I think that's, they are prepared. Let me say maybe a larger percentage of them, they are ready for this transformation because they are getting more educated. Yes. So as a result of their level of knowledge, they know that, okay, this thing is actually not appropriate. So let's work together to put an end to it.
Thank you very much. That means that's a good news from your part. So okay, Favor.
Yeah. Okay, so building upon what Ms. Rhoda said, I honestly believe that men and boys are prepared. Let's take a look at this Men and FGM organization by I think led by Tony Wemba or something. We have the likes of Lishan Kirato, the likes of Tony Olela, and I see what they are doing in their communities. I think the issue is men are not, they don't know the the nitty-gritty of how FGM is carried out. They hear of it. Usually it's the women that perform it, but they're not there when it's being performed most times. So when you show them, there was a time I was watching something on Twitter and then they were showing men and I was seeing the reactions of so many men, old, young, everyone watching how this thing is carried out, watching a live video of how FGM is carried out. And over time, there was transformation in that community. So I do believe that men are prepared because the truth is, while they know of FGM, they don't know the exact horrors accompanying FGM. So they need to be armed with the knowledge to create that change. Every day we see more men and boys joining the fights across Africa and all. And as for the traditional rulers, there have been reports of them leading campaigns, like I said before, for the eradication in their communities. The truth is, as long as we are able to show them these harmful effects of female genital mutilation on girls and women who also happen to be their daughters, their sisters, their wives, their friends, they will join the train. Even on social media space, there are countless male advocates who have taken it upon themselves to involve more boys and men in the fight against the elimination of female genital mutilation. So yes, they have just more knowledge.
Thank you very much for that, Judge. What's your own opinion on this? Hello, Judge, are you there?
I'm sorry, Margaret, maybe before George comes up, because I need to go now. I need to just quickly add this. Sorry. There was a research I saw. Please, can we all hear me? I'm very sorry for cutting in.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Yes, we can
Go
hear you.
ahead.
Go on.
Okay, so there was a research. I want to just add to what Favor said. Thank you very much for that, Ms. Favor. So there was a research work I saw. It was conducted by Varro et al. In 2015. And this is a peer-reviewed article from 15 countries between 2004 and 2014. So they tried to know the role of men in the abandonment of FGM. And one of the barriers they saw is the silent culture and lack of dialogue. Like, they don't know. I just want to buttress more on what Favor said. They really don't know how I don't even know the word to use. They don't know the nitty-gritty, let me just use that word, of FGM. And so they are not well informed about it. And because people don't talk about it, that's one problem. I was mutilated when I was young, but I got to know when I was 21 or 22 years. And knowing was, I had to know because what led to that conversation? Okay, when I was talking, I'd been an anti-FGM advocate before I knew I was even a survivor. And how I got to know that I was a survivor was because I was speaking with somebody. The person asked me, the way you're talking passionately, are you a survivor? I said, nah, I'm not, like that. I got to I said that, wait, let me even ask my parents. I asked my mom, she denied, sort of course. But later, I asked her again because I was not so sure. And her response was, she was not giving that, if they didn't really do it, they'll be like, no, never. We don't do that like that. But it was just a casual no. I said, let me ask again. And that was when she said, yes, she had to do it. My grandmother said it, blah, blah, blah. I didn't know. For maybe 21 or 22 years of my life, I did not know. So there are a lot of people about it. It's not something we talk about. It's not something that if they do for a 1-year-old or 2-year-old, 2 years old child, and they will later tell her when she's mature that, okay, when you were so age, we had to perform FGM on you. We don't talk about it. And people that know, they are not even bold enough to say it outside. It's understandable. It is understandable. I can't blame them. Not everybody can come on an open space like this and said I was mutilated. So that thing is preventing men from understanding how deep this thing is and how deep it has eaten into our culture. Then the other thing is the lack of dialogue. As I said, we are not communicating. I think it's still intertwined. Lack of
communication,
dialogue, yes, communication, and the silent culture. So I think that's one of the barriers. Although men are trying, they are really doing well. At least the organization I'm in, Future Shakers Initiative, was founded by a guy. And that's one of our major goals. We've had so many programs and outreaches as regards FGM. So thank you very much. I had to say that because I need to leave now.
Thank you very much for that, Rhoda. Thank you for that wonderful contribution. So I don't know if you have any contribution on this, how are men prepare for this transformation? Also, would be answering the question, what are the role of men to putting the end to this FGM? Because now we are aware that, okay, most of these men are ready, and the reason why some of them may not be ready is because they don't have this information. Please, okay, George is here. I think George is back. Please unmute your mic and talk.
Okay, thank you very much. I was actually here all along. I was battling with trying to mute myself.
Sorry for that.
The question, are we ready to embark on this journey? I think as the previous panelists that spoke before me said, like there is this silent culture and this old culture of, oh, it's a woman's thing. It's only women that can understand. And because of that, you don't want to share the information you have about these things with men because you feel like they will not understand. Well, I am a man and I understand perfectly well. I might not know what you are going through. I might not know how it feels, but I know what it feels like. And I've been made to understand, like, clear-cut examples of how FGM is when it comes to a man's perspective. Now, this is where education comes in. Late last year, I led a project called the Boys Charter, where I trained a group of boys to also train fellow boys in their schools in Lagos. And these boys, I trained them on gender-based violence prevention. I trained them about their body. I trained them about their own sexual and reproductive health rights and services that are available to them. And I gave them, we did it in a way that we had mentors attached to each school, and we had them attach those schools. We attached those students to the counselors in the schools. Now, in Lagos, we have school counselors, right? So we made sure that these students went back and took several sessions with their peers on assembly ground. And we trained about 30 schools. And these schools, we had it replicated. Now we have anti-GBV clubs in their schools. Now, what am I driving at? It is only when men are able to be enlightened and educated about the whole disadvantage that FGM or any form of violence puts them. Because whether you like it or not, it affects men too on the long run. It affects our families. It affects how we are able to build a relationship with our partners. Because if my partner underwent FGM and then we're having issues with sexual activity, it's going to affect me as well, right? And it's going to affect our productivity rate as well. Now, all these things, they are intertwined. But if women who are advocates and they are too passionate and they feel like men should not be engaged in ending FGM, that is where the problem lies. And I'm even happy that the panelists here, none of them has come for the head of the male panelists that you are quote unquote taking up space. I was on the panel recently, a high-level panel last year, December, and a lady said to me that, oh, men are taking up space when it comes to advocating against gender-based violence. And I was shook. Oh, we are taking up space. So you prefer that girls keep getting educated on how to be defensive, while the boys that are always on the offensive, they keep building up their structure, they keep getting stronger on how best to actually attack. Is that what you prefer? Because that's what will continue to happen. If you think you are building the confidence level of the women and girls to resist gender-based violence, trust me, the boys are also building their own resilience level. They're also building their strategies on how best to inflict gender-based violence. But when it is both ways, when the two parties, the two genders are well aware of downside of the disadvantage of practicing some of these things, then we are on our way to ending this gender-based violence. We are on our way to ending female genital mutilation. Because sometimes it is the men that request that their daughters undergo female genital mutilation. Trust me, I have this friend who is a member of the FGM Consortium Nigeria. His nickname is Felt Flame. He just had two daughters, or he's just had the child. No, it's twins recently, and he said he was in the hospital. Now, normally when a woman gives birth, the husband is usually told to go out, or after the birth and everything, the husband is usually not available most times. Is either you are going to pay one payment, or you're just, there's a way that you just make sure that the men are not around when things like that go around, right? And he was around, and that is what brings me to medicalization of FGM. And he saw that the nurse that was handling one of his daughters was using her hand to massage the clitoral part of the girl. And he asked, "Ma, please, what are you trying to do?" And he said, that's how we do. That's it. And immediately he said, Ma, please don't touch my daughter. That can you drop that girl? Now, that is because he is aware. It is because he is aware and he knows what is happening.
Information is power.
Exactly. When he saw it, he knew what was happening. He's also on a panel today. I think he's also speaking on one of the webinars today. When he told me about this, I was like, God. So this means that as men, this is an update, right? As men, make sure that you don't leave your wife or your child when they are being born and you are in the hospital. Make sure that you tell the medical staff, please and please, in my family, we don't allow this. Don't do this to my own children.
Exactly.
So if you see that it is because he's aware, it is because he's a man and he's aware. But if it's only women that are aware of these things, they usually don't have a choice. And we are still building, gender equality. We are still building the agency of women and girls to be able to make decisions for themselves. But while we are doing that, this act of violence is continuing. So the best way for us to make sure that we are not leaving one part and focusing on one part is to ensure that the two genders are well aware of these violence acts and they are both working to ending it. Now, if you have more men like myself, we have more men like the nurse that was also in this panel, we have more men that are well aware of FGM and its disadvantages and how they can channel, their masculinity to ensure that this kind of acts are stamped out of our communities. Then we're on our right path. We are in fact, it is easier that way. I belong to a community. I did not fall from heaven. I belong to a community. The nurse that was on this call belongs to a community. That my friend, Flex Film, belongs to a community. He's not even based in Southwest, he's based in the southeastern part of Nigeria. Now, he belongs to a community. We can go down to our communities and start telling our fellow men, Oga, this thing that they used to do. I hope say your wife don't born. Make sure say you stand there. Don't let them do this too. Don't let them do that too. And that's how we are going to stamp it out. So I'm sorry that I'm taking so much time, but this is something that I always like to say clearly, especially to women that are in this space. Don't see men as a competition. We are allies in ensuring that we stamp out gender-based violence. You can't do it with one gender. It has to be both ways. And the mantra is leaving no one behind. So leave no one behind in ensuring that FGM stamps out of our community.
Thank you so much for that, George. From what you have said, is important for men to stand with their wife, and that means they play a partnership role with the women also to end this FGM. They should always be with their wife. They should always be with their family. I think when we start this in a family, it will help us to reduce the cases of FGM in the society. Thank you very much for John. I don't know, not Sharon, are you still there? Hello, can you hear me now, Sharon? Okay, please, can you kindly type your contribution on the comment section, because the line is still breaking. I don't know what is wrong with this network today that doesn't want you to talk. Please, we would actually like to hear from you. What's your opinion on this, please? Thank you. Can you hear me? Okay. So let's move on. What's your contribution to this? What do you think are the role of men and boys in putting an end to FGM? What do you think is the role of men and boys? If you have any contribution to that, you can share with us on the chat box. But meanwhile, Fabum, I would like to hear your opinion on this.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you to all the panelists too. Yes, we need to involve more men and boys, so we need them. Okay, so concerning what role can men and boys play in putting an end to FGM, I think first of all we need to first talk about, most importantly, the factor, the main factor that promotes FGM, which is harmful gender and social norms. FGM is deeply rooted in gender inequality. For example, the belief that a woman is the property of her husband and she exists to please him. Hence, the reason why some of these girls are caught, which is to protect their maiden honor, virginity, and keep them intact. And as a social norm, there is a social pressure to conform to what others do and have been doing, which is usually perpetrated by the men. Do you understand? So there's pressure to conform, as well as the need to be accepted because of fear of rejection. Nobody's going to marry you. No man wants to marry an uncut person. So it's usually the men are the major reason why FGM is being carried out. It's carried out on women, but the major reason why it's being carried out is because of probably to be chased and stuff like that, all centered around pleasing the man. So that's why the role of men is very, very important in tackling female genital mutilations. Now, what role can they play? Narratives around FGM tend to focus more on women solving the problem while the men are not being carried around. But it's important to understand that it's a patriarchal social structure that strongly supports female genital mutilation and violence against men, women, and girls. So once you're able to break down that toxic structure, then you'll be able to, and it's the men that has to do that. Women can talk about it, can try and cajole them into doing that, but if they are not actively involved, there is very little that can be done. And as custodians of culture and practices, men have the power to speak out against female genital mutilation and challenge the cultural norms that support it. Men and boys' involvement is critical because the thing is, gender discrimination and violence, as evidenced in female genital mutilation, are caused by deeply entrenched social and gender norms that perpetuate a girl's or a woman's inferior status. So working with men and boys will help promote equitable norms. They'll be able to identify and challenge these harmful negative masculinities. They will be able to teach their fellow peers that this is not right. We can't keep doing this to our daughters. We can't keep doing this to our sisters. Let's change. Let's do away with this practice. So that's one role they can come in and play by dismantling that gender discrimination. And also the religious and traditional rulers and the position of authority can help to bring about quicker change in attitude and beliefs. That's another role men play, and most times, men are usually the traditional rulers in the community. So engaging them or having them at the forefront will always help in fighting against genital mutilation. So in summary, men and boys can play a role like in an FGM by reporting these cases, dialoguing with their fellow men and boys, speaking up against these harmful social norms, doing away with this practice, helping them see the light that we are harming our girls, we are harming our women. If they keep dying, if women keep getting affected by this, who are you going to marry? Who are you going to enjoy? Which female child are you going to have to give out her hand in marriage or whatever it is? So you support their sisters, support the sisters and daughters, raise awareness. Men can play really raising awareness about FGM online and offline, and also fostering a safe environment for women and girls. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for that favor. Thank you very much. So I don't know if there's any other contribution, the way forward, what's the way forward from these? Any other contribution from anybody, questions to that and answers? Let's move on. Meanwhile, we talk about the way forward too. Okay, Lola, you want to say something?
Yes, I want to add this, and this is one thing that for a number of times we always neglect. That's the funding. Carrying out a program, I'm very sure this one you are carrying out, at least, even though it is virtual, you spend a certain amount of naira. So now carrying out outreaches, programs, sensitization programs and all that cost money. And this is one major disadvantage, one major setback that a lot of activists they are facing when they want to perform and all that. So I want to just talk about the funding aspect, that most of the time when we are talking about how to end FGM, this is one major way. We should fund people that are doing this thing. We should fund people that are the front line. Let's put towards the support. Let's support the heart. Then another thing I want to talk about is empowerment. Like, there was a community that I got to know, that people that do this practice, that they perform the FGM, they do it like a ceremony, sort of. Everybody will line up, and that is their duty, the quotas. That is what their job, let me put it like that. And that is what they do for living. That's where they get money from. So these people, if we are saying that, okay, we are asking you not to do this thing again, then we need to be able to empower them to get another means of income. That's, another thing that I got to know from asking the people at the grassroots level. Then I think that's all. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Rhoda. Any other contribution, comments? Meanwhile, let me read some comments from chat here. Somebody said education is the key to resolve this problem of FGM. They should be educated about the disadvantages of this procedure, of this practice. And also, okay, Mr. Sharon was able to drop his view. Thank you very much, Mr. Sharon. I don't know what is wrong with your network, but I'm happy that you're able to share your view here. He said men are getting much more knowledgeable and informed about FGM, and quite a number of the engagement with kings, and they are now advocating against FGM. That's a good one. And a particular king in Osun shared the story with me, how he had made laws against FGM in his community. Wow, that's great. That's great. I think if every traditional rulers continue like this, it will be very great. And like we all say, I think information is just the key here. And also, we being ready to end this FGM practices. So if you have any comments or any question before we round up this session, it has been a very educative and insightful and engaging section with you all. I don't know if you have any comment, contribution, you can just raise up your hand and I will ask you to unmute to say something. Okay, Mr. Al-Azan, okay, you raise up your hand.
Yes, thank you so very much. I'm Al-Hassan Nuhu from Ghana. I'm a mental health officer with Ghana Health Service, and also executive director and founder for Fit Dawa Foundation.
Thank you.
This session is, in fact, it's a wonderful session, and I think the organizers next time, I think we have to circulate these links widely so that we can have a lot of voices, a lot of people joining. Yeah, so that is what I would like to comment. And also, I think, like we have all said, women can do it without men, and men also can do it without, women. So I think we should have a strategic way of, involving men and boys. Particularly in the community session, we can organize what we call adolescent clubs. We can have boys clubs. Then we start educating them from scratch. We can also have both boys and girls club, and then as well as daddies club in the community sessions. So all these things, I think, can also educate, this is where we can have more men. And then as well as sometimes when we visit the communities we have to also tackle the chiefs, the opinion leaders in the communities. Then we give them role to play in terms of gender-based violence against women and girls. So I think we have to involve men, at least some percentage to men, because I've realized that most women, because we say that we want to empower women to, have more voices, some women also misinterpret that. They think men are enemies to women when it comes to gender-based violence. So I think women, we have to, have a strategic way of, dealing with the community. Other than that, men will also think that, okay, these people are truly our enemies or something of such. So we have to involve men holistically to end gender-based violence as well as FGM. Thank you very much. This has been a nice session. Yeah, thank you very much for the organizers.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Salami is still dropping some message, some comments on what we asked him. Okay, you say about the VAP law, even the judiciary are not doing well. Wow, that means it's not the matter of the public only, but the judiciary are not doing so well. And they say in a recent engagement with the judiciary in Osun, when we asked them about the copy of the VAP law, they couldn't provide it. So accessibility is key. They told us there is amounts that need to be paid to the House of Assembly before it can get it. Wow. This is the problem of we getting what this VAP law or act is all about. And when people cannot access it, how can they inform others? I think it's very important to be able to access this thing. Are these laws actually there? Okay, now we believe that most states have already domesticated it, but are they there? Accessibility is important. Thank you very much for that contribution, Mr. Salami. Okay, be kind. Information to men on the short and long consequences of FGM. We make them involved in putting an end to FGM. Yes, of course, it's very important. Okay, Mr. Salami is also saying that the media house also have, they have a key role in playing in achieving a nation free from FGM. Exactly. And I guess that was the point that Mr. George was making the other time, that if they can hear, like people, most people, like in my own community, I see so many people listening to radio. If they can hear that this social person is being fined so for committing this act and so on, it will help them to be informed and also to end these practices. The media house, I think we have a lot to do. There is a lot of work to be done, and it's not only the awareness, it's like Mr. George said, when we commission this thing, when we announce to the public about this act, it really help. Thank you very much. Information is very important. We can't be overemphasized. I guess most people that have talked today, we have talked about information, educating the public, educating the traditional rulers, educating the men about this act to make sure the act stops. Thank you very much. I don't know if there's any other comment. You can raise up your hand to comment about this FGM. We have shared so many things today on this live chat, and I must say that I've learned a lot from the speakers, from the contributors. Thank you very much. So if you have anything to say before we round up this session, I don't know, please do so now.
Yeah, thank you very much, Margaret. And I just want to ask on the relating to the last question that we just deliberated on, the role of how about the traditional leaders, the initiators of these traditional norms? What are the kind of laws in place that will make them really know that this thing shouldn't be? Because I think it has to begin from them. It's not just about the whole gender thing, the men, and then us as women working in hand, but then they also play a major role. The government, the initiators of traditions, they have a role to play. I don't know if there is a kind of law that binds such.
Thank you very much, Tina, for that. Yeah, it's very important for the traditional rulers to be involved too. Okay, so we have another hands up, but before that, let me read a comment from Stella here that the federal government, Senate, House of Assembly should all be involved. They should be reenact the law, and all hands should be on deck to make this policy to be successful. That's a very good point from Stella. Thank you very much for that contribution. Okay, I can see a hand up before. Please unmute your mic and say and talk, please.
Okay, sorry, I'm Sabaju from African Hope for Community Progress Initiative. I commend the previous speakers for this issue. I have a little bit another observation. Can you hear me?
Sure, we can hear you, ma'am.
All right. Mine is similar to what the recent speaker said, but in a different way. Last time we were having this joint meeting like this, somebody made this similar suggestion about this, and I want to follow right on that. I can't forget whether Ekaiti or so. The issue is that we can make laws. One thing is to enforce it. We all know that these things happens at the grassroots. It's a gender issue. It has to do with behavior rooted in culture and norms that these people spend almost 100 years practicing. So we can't change norm. We can challenge norms. Like one of the projects I'm working on here in Meda, Nigeria, we have a very beautiful things we do to handle such things. We can't change people's behavior, but there's a way we can challenge it. We can raise something. They themselves will now create awareness and we challenge those things. One, we can use social dialogue, targeting the reference groups. Who are the reference groups? Reference groups are those people who they are the enforcers of such laws and regulations in the community. The traditional rulers, the grandmothers, the father-in-law, the grandmothers, you understand? These are the people that they ensure that FGM is done. So we can challenge not by conducting a town hall meetings with them, social dialogue through maybe transformative dialogue or compound meetings or town hall meetings with them. We can have a program to target them. They have their reasons. What the previous speaker said last month, that Akaiti, I forgot. The truth is that these people are doing it for gains. If we cannot compensate the gains they are doing it for, you can do all the policies in this world. The legislators will not come down to the community and say, they cannot go down to enforce. They will just do it upstairs and keep it. But when we tackle from the root cause, the reference groups, we call town hall meeting, compound meetings, transform meeting with them. At that point, we'll be able to use, we can even use force field analysis to dig out the root cause. Why are they doing that? What is the issue beyond that? Is it because they don't want women to flirt? Is it because they don't want women to marry and go somewhere? Is it because they want to reduce their sexual desire so they don't flirt? Why are they really doing the FGM? So during the town hall meeting, compound meeting, transformative dialogue, this thing will come. Then the community with the reference group can now sit down
Hello, Dr. Sir. Hello, ma. Hello, ma. We can't hear you clearly. Can you hear me? Hello, ma. Can you hear me? Hear me?
approach, the FGM will not exist.
Ma, are you still there? Hello, Mr. Latu, are you still there? Oh, I think she's having some network challenges. Okay, another. Are you there, Ma?
I guess she's having some network issues.
Okay, so another
Yes.
comment from. Okay, Ma. So do you want to continue?
Yes. Can you hear?
Your line is actually breaking. Okay, so let me read a comment from Noshir Salami. He said the president of the Association of Cultures in Nigeria pledged in Abuja to end FGM, and this is a success story indeed. Most questions I ask people who say cutting help stop promiscuity is this: do you think with their genital or their okay, do you think with your genital or your brain? That's a very important question. So promiscuity is related with cutting. Reasoning is from the brain, not the genital. Yes, reasoning is from the brain, not the genital. So a research I was involved in recently among sex workers shows that most of them had FGM. Wow. I think this proves the fact of what Favor was saying the other time, that most of these people that have FGM, they are most likely to become promiscuous, something like that. Okay, so if FGM was a means to end promiscuity, why do we still have a good number of survivors still doing this? That's a very good question. That's a very good question. Thank you, Mr. Sorry, Nurse Shields Lamy, for that wonderful contribution. Okay, the truth is just that I don't know if Dr. Sadatu is still there. If you want to end.
I'm still there.
Okay, okay. I think
Yes.
your voice
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you clearly now.
So what I'm saying, the social dialogue approach, we can hold a town hall meeting or compound meeting or transformative dialogue with the communities to invite the grandmothers, father-in-laws, the religious community. At the town hall meeting, we will bring the issue. They will tell us there must be reason why they are doing the FGM or they are promoting it. Maybe they don't want the women to be flirting about. That's why they want to do that. Maybe there's some reason. They will have the reason because they can't just be doing it. So at the compound meeting, usually is not a fault finding.
Yeah.
Yes, they will tell us at the compound meeting. That's the way we used to do the compound meeting. We've been using this approach very well in northern Nigeria to dig out even serious issue that we never think of. We can also apply a tool, gender tool called force field analysis is a gender tool. Field analysis to conduct the compound meeting with it. It will help that we are not the one talking. No, we will assume we don't know the reason. At the meeting, they'll be talking. The reference group, they'll show their powers. Yes, we do that. This is the reason why. If we don't do like this is what will happen. So in the meeting, we cannot synthesize them there. Okay, that's a very good thing. But if we do that, this is the economic loss that we are suffering. This is the issue we are suffering. At the end of the meeting, they will not develop an action plan. How to demote what they've been doing. And if you have to do financial gain, as is it Ikaite or somebody saying the last meeting last month? I think somebody from South mentioned this. I'm repeating. If it has to do with financial gain, that they're doing this thing to gain some means of livelihood, then we can develop a plan to compensate that. empower them so that they can reduce that and be doing something to help them. So these are the strategy we have to. So me, I'm suggesting we do a social dialogue. And the social dialogue, we have three, either transformative dialogue or campaign, a prepared campaign meeting. So we can deploy that and deploy the tool, and we get the issues and make sure we have a plan to empower these people doing it. By the time we compensate them doing something to get money, tell you gradually, we will challenge the norms. We can't stop it, but we challenge it. Now in Bauchi, Nigeria, women, men, religious leaders with their beards, they are the ones sweeping the house for their wives, which is very rare. And this is the method we use.
Thank you
Gradually,
very much, Dr. for that.
we use the gender action learning methodology. We've changed this orientation of what they consider never impossible in northern Nigeria. So we can deploy that method there. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that wonderful input. Wow, that's a very great way to work with it.
Exactly.
That's really great. Okay, so we've moved to the end of this session. I don't know. For me, I've really enjoyed every bit of the discussion. It's as if it's as if Dr. Salami has not even finished his he has not finished with the input.
We
It's
need
because of
to
the
organize
network.
another section of it.
Seriously, he had a lot to say, I know, but the network really
Yeah, he has just dropped another comment. He said in a community engagement as implementing partners with UNICEF on movement for good around September. Then we formed a network of survivors, and then we prepared them psychologically and socially to further reach out to other survivors and form a community. Wow, that's a good initiative. Well done, Ta. Well done, Ta. You're doing great. Okay. Hello, Margaret. Are you still there?
Yeah, somebody is asking a question here.
Okay.
And it said, this is a good initiative so that what will be the result after challenging the norms? What will be the result? I guess this question is for Dr. Sadatun.
Empowerment, of course.
Okay, somebody hands is up. Do you want to say anything?
Yeah,
Unmute yourself.
Yeah. Thank you very much,
Mr. Solomon.
Network, for this wonderful initiative. My question goes to Dr. Sabratu. She was talking about approach, something transformative, and they mentioned community. So I was like, because someone was like, I guess we can adopt some best approaches used. So, okay, I think she's actually the one saying we can adopt some best approaches used. So, Doctor, can you list some of these approaches that can be had? Because here in this group are some of the other CSOs that would love to take advantage of what works in other sections of the country to maybe implement in their own section. So I think, Doctor, you could just probably list it down, because I couldn't personally, I didn't hear exactly what you were pronounced, what you meant by some of the approaches that you mentioned. Will you please type them in the chat box so that others can take advantage? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
You want to say something? All right. I think she's still having an issue with our network. So moving on.
Okay, it's empowerment. We empower them.
Okay.
Yeah, Mennonite economic development, MEDA has been doing that a lot. Then the approaches are number one, I say social dialogue. I will type it. Social dialogue has three major components. One, we have what we call town hall meeting. In the town hall, we are going to call all the relevant people, the reference group, the traditional leaders, religious, women and men, you boys and girls. Then the next meeting will be compound meeting. In the compound meeting, we call only the women and the grandmother and the elderly women. We discuss how this FGM, how do they feel about it? Then the next thing, after the second meeting, with the third, we move to what we call transformative dialogue. Transform, from the word transform. There we are going to develop an action plan. The men will tell us how they feel about it. What do we need to improve? The women and the girls. Then we are going to develop an action plan. Who will do what to address these issues? What will be the role of CSOs in terms of empowerment? What will be the role of the community, women? We are going to do a series of sensitization activities, and we will tell them who will do what. They themselves, they have a role to play. They will tell us what they will do. Because if they do it themselves, it's more sustainable. And we can see the changes quickly. When we rise up some champions of agents of change there, using their local dialect to talk to them about the effects, we will use facts and figures to talk to them about the effects of these things. And there are people that we the one to talk to them, not us, in their own languages. That will be more effective. I'm going to chat it now. I will put it on the chat.
Oh, thank you
Thank you
very
very
much,
much,
Doctor.
ma'am. That is wonderful.
So moving to the end of this session, we've really spent a lot of time just for us to go back to what we are doing for the day, that we won't waste all our whole day. I know that if we are left to talk, we will talk the whole day, because this matter is a crucial matter that needs to be treated, because majorly maybe because of the silent culture of it. Majorly people that practice it, some of them are not aware, or some of them are actually aware, but they can't talk out. So it's very important for us to address this issue. And as much as everyone that is here or hearing us today, it's very important for you to educate one another, because educate, all this thing we are talking about, this change we are talking about, this end we are talking about, start from this education. Thank you very much for coming, for joining this live chat. Meanwhile, this is just like advertisements of our work. And are you a woman with an unmet sexual and reproductive health need? Speak with our sexual reproductive health expert today for women to women counseling on this number that you can see on the screen. And for family planning or birth control, you can chat with Ali Chatbot on WhatsApp, or you call 55059, the Honey and Banana Connect. All these services are for free. I want to thank our amazing partners who have always been with us. They are the ones that are making Belle by Church live chat and every of our program in Belle by Church to be amazing and successful. We thank you, AWDF, Global Fund for Women, Women First Digital, Women for Women's Alliance, DKT, the Cross River State Ministry of Health, UNFPA, and Cross River Primary Healthcare Healthcare Development Agency. You all have done amazingly well for us, and we are grateful. Age Network is grateful for that. This is the moment I will say thank you everybody for joining in. I've really enjoyed it, and I know everybody too have enjoyed this live chat. It has been an amazing moment with you all, and I wish you all a very beautiful and amazing day. Thank you. Goodbye from here. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. Nice meeting you all, and thank you. I'll be expecting.
Thank you, George.
Comments.
Thank you.
Maybe that's we progress. We're expecting more comments from you all. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Salami.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Shion. Sorry for the
Bye.
network.
I think organize a different section for him.